Hey, what's up? It's Patrick. It's Rose via Fire, and I want to talk about what makes a person irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? What makes a person irreplaceable? And I'm gonna just share with you some of my opinions on what makes a person irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? And all of these things I'm about to mention, all of these things combined is what could make a person irreplaceable. So, you know what I'm saying? Once you combine all these things, that's what could make a person irreplaceable. So let's just begin with this message. What makes a person irreplaceable? The number one thing that could make a person irreplaceable is when a person has a relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? When a person has a relationship with God, that could make them irreplaceable because, you know what I'm saying, they actually have that personal connection with God. They have that personal relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? That could make them irreplaceable. Another thing that could make a person irreplaceable is good character. When a person has good character, you know what I'm saying, that could make them irreplaceable is because so many people out here, man, they got bad character. So many people out here, they got nasty, bad characters. You know what I'm saying? So when a person has good character, that could make them irreplaceable. And that's the second thing that could make a person irreplaceable. The first one was a relationship with God, because a lot of people out here don't even really have a strong personal relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know how many people out here don't even have that deep connection with God? You know what I'm saying? But moving on to the hold on. And that's basically why you gotta know your worth. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know your worth, because if you have all these things about you, you could be a person who is irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's good for you to know your worth. If you have like a relationship with God, if you have good character, you know what I'm saying, and all these other things, you got to know your worth, you know what I'm saying? Because you could be a person out there who's irreplaceable because you got all these irreplaceable traits about you. You know what I'm saying? And this list that I'm giving y'all is basically like a list of irreplaceable traits about a person. You know what I'm saying? What makes a person irreplaceable? The next thing on the list is loyalty. You know what I'm saying? When you are loyal, that could make you irreplaceable because you got so many people out there who's not loyal. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know it's true, man. There's so many people out here who is not loyal. So that's another thing that could make a person irreplaceable. The next thing on this list that could make a person irreplaceable is good work ethic. You know what I'm saying? When a person has good work ethic, that could make them irreplaceable because a lot of people, they don't even have that good work ethic. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, man, their work ethic is not really up there. It's not really good. So when you really have that good work ethic, that could make you irreplaceable. Like I said, all these things, all these traits combined is what could make a person irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing on this list that could make a person irreplaceable is being strong-minded. You know what I'm saying? When you are strong-minded, that could make you irreplaceable because you got a lot of people out here who's not strong-minded. You got a lot of weak-minded people out here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to use women as an example. You got women out here who's weak-minded and not strong-minded, whereas the devil will show up to them looking pretty. You know what I'm saying? The devil will show up to them and dressed all pretty and this and that, and the devil will tell them what they want to hear. The devil will be like, oh, you know, you have nice long hair, you have this, you have that. You know what I'm saying? And they just going to fall for it. It's because they are not strong-minded. See, when you're dealing with a strong-minded person, they just not going to fall for just anything. You know what I'm saying? They just not going to fall for everything because they are strong-minded. They able to see through different things. You know what I'm saying? Because their strong mind and them being strong-minded, it allows for them to see through different things. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like being strong-minded is another thing that could make a person irreplaceable, man. And that's why it's kind of like important to have strong-minded people in your circle, is because strong-minded people is not just gonna fall for any and everything. They're not gonna fall for just everything. You know what I'm saying? They just strong-minded. And if your circle is filled with like weak-minded people, the devil could easily just go up to them and just tell them the simplest stuff, and they are just fall for this stuff, man. Just tell them anything, they just fall for it because they're not strong-minded like that. You know what I'm saying? And let's see, another thing on this list that could make a person irreplaceable is patience. You know what I'm saying? Patience. Patience could make a person irreplaceable because you got so many angry people out there. You know what I'm saying? You got so many people out there who's not patient. You got so many people out there who they're just angry. You know what I'm saying? You ever run across people who just angry? Like they just angry all the time. They never in a bad, they never like, they rarely in a good mood. They always just angry about something. Always angry about this, always angry about that. You know what I'm saying? And you got them people. This is another comparison that I'm about to make. So being angry, right? And hold on. Yeah, like I said, you got so many angry people out there who's not patient. And this is the comparison I wanted to make. Like a lot of angry people, they also not patient. You know what I'm saying? So being angry and being impatient, a lot of times is just goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Just like I gave y'all the other, just like I gave you an example before, but hold on, I think that was actually in another, yeah, hold on. Yeah, but anyways, being angry and being impatient, they go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Those two things go hand in hand. Being angry and being impatient, they go hand in hand. That's why being patient could make a person irreplaceable, because you got so many angry people out here. You got so many people out here who are impatient. You know what I'm saying? Another thing on this list that could make a person irreplaceable is being understanding. When a person is understanding, you know what I'm saying? You know, like same concept. A lot of people out here is not understanding. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people out here, they just don't understand it. You try to explain things, they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have that deep understanding about them. They are not understanding people. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that could make a person irreplaceable is, let's see, longevity. You know what I'm saying? This is the final thing on the list. Longevity could make a person irreplaceable, because longevity is basically when a person is not a quitter. You know what I'm saying? When a person is not a quitter and they have that longevity about them, you know what I'm saying? When a person is not a quitter and they have that longevity about them, that could make them irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? Because they are stable-minded. You know what I'm saying? They have that spirit of longevity about them. You know what I'm saying? They know how to go the distance. You know what I'm saying? And they are not a quitter. So don't you see how longevity could make a person irreplaceable? You get what I'm saying? And another thing, hold on. Yeah, you got so many people that cannot go the distance. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, anybody could start something, but can they make it last? Can they go the distance? And that's another thing about longevity, man. Longevity, man, people who have that spirit of longevity, the spirit of I'm not a quitter, you know what I'm saying? those people, man, they are irreplaceable because they have that longevity in them. And one thing about longevity, you can't take that away from somebody. You can't take longevity away from somebody because they already achieved it. You know what I'm saying? They already had that longevity. You know what I'm saying? They already went the distance already. You know what I'm saying? And that could make a person irreplaceable. If they earn that, you know, if a person earned that longevity, then they earned that longevity. You know what I'm saying? They already earned it. You can't take it away from them. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing this stuff for years and years and years, and they have that longevity. You can't take that away from them because they already earned it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the final thing that can make a person irreplaceable, man. Peace.